Court, you criminalize one parent. You criminalize children at a young age, and then later you can take them like that. There's no rationale required. So.
Well, I don't know the exact figure, but it's grossly disproportionate of driving with children.
There's many different social medias in here, and this is a wonderful story. I'm going to do the best that I can to cover this. Anybody else is also invited to, please, because many questions bring more questions and more answers, maybe.
The other thing, and you know this, of course, but I keep emphasizing, having a monthly action that people know is going to happen. Like every first Sunday of the month, we used to go down to all the churches, and they knew we were coming. They got to know all the cops really well. Capilano, the Squamish chief, evicted all the churches from his territory 2 years ago. And what he did was he said, I'm the traditional Squamish chief here. My family was thrown out of the Longhouse in 1920, and Catholic Indian chiefs were put in our place. That was the norm. That's how it operated. So I'm reclaiming my territory. He sent a letter to all the Catholic United and Anglican churches saying, you never got permission to build your churches here. You never paid us a cent of rent. Leave. He filed it in the Supreme Court, duly registered. We delivered the summons, or not the summons, the eviction order on the churches. The cops came running up like they always do to protect the church. And so I was talking to the sergeant, and I showed him the Supreme Court order, right? And he went, oh, well, if it's a legal eviction order, I guess we'd have to enforce it. and then I thought, well, okay, then you have the choice of whether to cross the line or not, because morality and everything is on your side, right? But then you're up against the institution, right? And then you have to say, well, do we have the numbers and do we have the guts to do that, to take that step? Well, when I was in England, I don't know if you heard about this, it was all over the internet, but in a place called Birkenhead, which is a suburb of Liverpool, there was 600 people showed up at the court, and there was this particularly corrupt judge who was imposing council taxes. And the English get really riled up over council taxes because they have a strong sense of what's legitimate and what isn't in terms of authority. So this guy was imposing illegal council taxes on people. So this guy, Roger Hayes, showed up and said, I'm a free man on the land. I don't recognize the authority of the Crown when it's acting against common law. I'm removing you, sir, as judge. Bailiff, arrest him. 2 common law peace officers took the judge and let him out. Okay. At that point, all shit broke loose. And what happened was the cops showed up, but they couldn't get in because there's 600 people around the building. And they're all chanting, common law, right? And they went in and they started running the common law court. And what isn't on the video is the fact that they then announced that they were revoking the council tax. So they revoked it. So it's revoked. So 600 of them. And that's what you need to do. And it's standing. They call it. There's a movement in England called lawful rebellion. And what they say is, like you hear Indigenous people say, we're reclaiming. We're not overthrowing anything. We're reclaiming what was taken by an arbitrary authority. And this leads me to this, which I want to talk about, and other people know too, invite your comments. But when I was in Kanien'keha the day before yesterday, I was shown the Two Row Wampum belt. And when the Europeans arrived on their territory, they were given the wampum belt, and it represents, and I don't know everything, I'm just learning this stuff, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it's called the Two Row Wampum, and they represent not just European native relations, but philosophy of life, the equality of male and female, light and darkness, everything. And this represents the two traditions, the European and the Indigenous. And they were to travel down the river side by side in a state of equality, not seeking to dominate one another. Now, they offered this wampum belt, and they claimed that in 1616 the Dutch signed a treaty with them based on this, and in 1683 the English did. And the Europeans had to back then because they were outnumbered. They had to get on good terms with the Indians. Later, they threw that out. They revoked it. But they did that totally illegally. And somebody told me that in the Foreign Office in London, they have a copy of this. And when the elders showed me this wampum belt, they presented me with this flag and this pouch. They gave me a name, and they said, we authorize you to take that around to your people and to remind them of the treaty that they revoked. And to say, to stand on this means to revoke the power of the authority of the Crown in Canada. and it's to reclaim the common law. So we're doing what the people in Liverpool do.
Yes.
We're reclaiming the common law. And what it says is that there's a difference between what's legal and what's lawful. You can have a legal act passed by government, that's a statute, but it doesn't make it lawful. It's only lawful if it squares with natural law. Natural law harms no one. It's about peace, equality, and respect. And if any of those things are violated, and it can't be fraudulent. So, look at what happens when you're born into this country. You're not informed about the real nature of things. Under the law, if consent is derived through fraud or lack of information or coercion, then it's fraudulent under the law and it's revoked. Well, at every level, that's how we're treated. So we're on solid, lawful ground to say we do not recognize this authority of the Crown or Church anymore, especially since they were involved in planning crimes against humanity and committing them, and trying to conceal them now through the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and other things.
In violation of the conditions.
We're also backed up by the UN Convention, or the UN Nuremberg legal standards of 1950 that says when a country is waging a war of aggression, as Canada is in Afghanistan and now in Libya, waging against a non-belligerent nation that did not attack you, that's what we tried the Nazis for in Nuremberg, not genocide, we tried them for wars of aggression. We found them guilty. We, under the precedent, are guilty of that, and therefore, they say that you have an obligation and a necessity under international law not to pay taxes to that government, and you're on lawful international ground and on common law. So, if you're talking about where this is going, this is exactly where it's going, because you're not going to overcome. When you talk about healing, you're not going to get that unless we challenge the source of it. And enough of that. I mean, to me, I want to hear from you too, but this is, to me, where this is going is how to reinvent Canada.
You've heard about the population, but you're not too but that seems to me like
it's kind of a two-edged document, because it also says, like every treaty in Canada says, is that it recognizes the authority of the Crown, and that land is vested in Her Majesty. So, in other words, what the Royal Proclamation is saying is, yes, in your territory, whites need to seek your permission before they go on it, but you're administering that territory for us. So what that did is it got rid of the two and it made it one. Right? We're saying that real equality means the Crown is a fiction and doesn't have that right to say that in the first place. And you need a new, everything that we talked about, you need to start from square one because it's being fraudulent. And that's just under law, that's what you do. You're being defrauded. And there's people much more knowledgeable about this who write about that under, the Freemen on the Land movement, the Lawful Rebellion movement in England. And it's starting up here as well. The indigenous on the coast, they're doing that more and more.
I want to thank you for bringing that up and bringing it into a nice circle, because that information, I feel on a personal level, is maybe not the solution, because I don't know if we can ever really define what the solution may be, but I think what's going on in London is very important. We're actually having a mirror event this Saturday because they're rejoicing about what they've done, and they're going to be doing something there, more marches, and we're going to be trying to do the same thing, thinking of going down to A Channel and just asking them if they know about what happened, because, as you say, it is incredibly crucial. It's almost like something has changed, and all we need to do is talk about it.
Well, and it's also amazingly empowering for people, because we don't have to wait anymore. We can create this ourselves.
Yes.
Right? And be sure to send it.
Absolutely.
And media is losing boundaries.
Ottawa Citizens going out of business.
Well, we're the media. We're the media.
Is that official?
Yeah.
Not official, but they're really doing bad. I mean, it's getting thinner and thinner all the time. Like, they're having an economic struggle, that's for sure. Like
They
the rest
can't
of
even
them.
give this shit right now. Like nobody's even reading the street.